Welcome, everybody, to the Crossover Podcast, episode 123, I think. The MSI special, but there's so much more than MSI going on right now. We will eventually get to that. But first, we have a headline that we have to talk about that we have discussed once before on this channel. It was one of the lower viewed podcast episodes because of that. So if you want to skip through this, timestamps will be down below. But Paul doesn't know what the top post on Reddit is right now. Which could
No.
be the dude that got laid off from Riot Games and then got rehired as a freelancer with no benefits to make skins that he was already making before. But that's a different story entirely. That's just greedy. Well, that's greedy capitalism, but we're also talking about greedy capitalism here. Travis Gafford released a 9-minute video saying that he will not be covering the Esports World Cup this year,
Oh,
or like at all. And he's drawing a line in the
okay.
sand and will not be supporting it in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
What's your initial takeaway? He did now the 9-minute video for context goes into a lot of details on the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi and him, the stance of a journalist in this whole situation. He talks about
Mm.
how money tampers with everything and bleeds into everything, but this is where he needs to draw a hard line, which is like a direct event that is meant to basically sports wash. And this is his tipping point that he will not be covering it. He will not be talking about it other than throwing an occasional punching joke at it. He hit on teams. He hit on Riot and basically said, y'all should not be taking this money. Are we really at this point where you are?
Yeah, that's okay. That's a lot to unpack and to figure out, but I wouldn't blame him for not wanting to cover it also because of the uh was it Wall was his name, I think, like Grant Wall or something, was the UAS men's soccer team guy
Oh yeah,
who
the guy. Yeah, he got killed too. Well,
well, yeah, he allegedly just
yeah,
died of a heart attack, but it was also pretty sketch what happened over there
yeah,
and I don't know. It was weird. So I wouldn't blame you. I mean, if there's a country I wouldn't, or one of the countries, I guess, in the list of them that I would probably not go to or risk unless I really needed to go
yeah.
or just wanted to. Especially as a white guy, I think there's no reason to go there. Like, there's not a ton of places in the world you can't go. As a white guy, we have it pretty easy.
We have
It's
life on
just,
easy mode.
yeah, there's a couple you shouldn't, and that's one of them. So it helps not to, especially if you're not like a super important person,
Yeah,
which I'm not saying Travis Gabbard isn't, but at the end of the day, if he got offed somehow randomly over there, like that's not a huge deal for the US government to cover up.
no.
So yeah, I wouldn't go over there. I mean that's of course like the what is it, the uh conspiracy side of me, but also kind of not conspiracy side because things happen.
Yep. I
And
don't think that's conspiracy at all to say.
yeah, it's just kind of one of those things. Like, if you don't want to go there, I wouldn't blame you. If you don't want to even cover it from a remote because of
He's not going to be
personal
talking about it
reasons,
at all. He was
yeah,
apparently
I don't even.
offered he was offered to make content for it as well
Oh, okay.
and turned it down immediately without even hearing the offer.
I
So,
wouldn't even blame him for that. I
no.
mean, it's like one of those things. If you want to draw a line in the sand on them, I don't think it's a problem. I mean, there are arguments people are going to make, and Blue made it in the Discord of like the only way to get people to change is to slowly like have them enjoy your stuff, and then you guys try to trade cultural ideas. But it's also
That
one of
takes
those,
decades. Like people aren't going to think that long.
yeah, not everybody needs to be or should be forced to be a part of that process.
Yeah.
Like there's some people who just either A don't want to deal with it or B probably just don't have like the mental capacity for that and are smart enough to admit it.
Mhm.
Like that's not their spot. And so I don't blame those people. Like if there are things you don't want to do slash don't feel the need to be involved with, that's that's okay. Like it's good that you at least know you're not a part of that. And that's not your thing. It's never a bad thing to feel that way.
Yeah. I
But
I'm curious,
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be in the position where we're going to have a podcast that's ongoing talking about LoL esports during that time.
hmm
Are you going to talk about it?
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't really care that much. I guess. I guess I'm just in a weird boat or something. But I mean, if somebody like I'm gonna talk about it just because I don't. I see it as like just another competition, and we're taking their money anyways, and we can use it to do good things. So I would say just yeah, keep scamming them for all you can. Same as the golfers. Take what you can and run and donate to good charity causes. That's what I would say.
You
Like at least donate a good amount.
you beat me to it. So at this point, I mean, I've already said this on Twitter. So if anybody's hearing this here for the first time and you're shocked by this opinion, I've been very
Mhm.
consistent with this. There was a time where I was very like hypocritical, not hypocritical, where I was like very against people taking deals with the Saudis. And like John Robinson, for example, went over and did a conference over there. And like I was raising holy hell of like, why is he going over there? Why is he doing this? Like, we don't need to do this. Come on now.
Mm.
I don't know whether it was naiveness on my part of just believing that, maybe we're above this when we aren't. But the truth of the matter is that as a golfer, as somebody that has watched the PGA Tour all my life, as somebody that saw Live come in, the Saudi-backed golf league, like seeing them,
Yeah.
that's direct sports washing. This is a little bit more indirect because Riot can ultimately like cock block them if they want. There's nothing stopping them in the golf front.
hmm
I was one of those people that's like, nah, they're just chucking money. It's not going to make a difference. They're permanently in golf. And they're about to merge with the
Yeah.
PGA Tour, especially after today it was announced that Tiger, Rory, and a few others got deals. Basically, the only reason they got those deals is because it paves the way so that people from Live can come back into the PGA Tour and they can merge the leagues. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So for golf will forever be entangled with Saudi money.
Yeah.
And it's one of those that like I have no moral high ground. If I watch golf tournaments, if I talk about golf, if I do anything in that capacity, I am complicit in it.
hmm
And I'm simply telling you now, it is what it is at this point for me. I don't have a like I can't like what am I gonna say? Anything that I say that's like, oh, I'm not gonna. Why would I watch the Esports World Cup? Like it can be anti-Saudi. There, it's like okay, but you're watching golf whenever these guys come in. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hypocritical of me. And that's the one thing that I just don't want to see with people in this situation is like, look, you got to look like people are going to look at the Esports World Cup and be like, this is like my line in the sand moment, like Travis is doing now. And I respect him for that. And you are perfectly fine and allowed to have that opinion.
Yep.
But when you look back 3 years from now, as many of us had to do with Live and the PGA Tour, don't say that we didn't tell you it's coming. And
Yep.
you're going to either have to do one of two things. You're either going to have to walk back everything that you said, all that time of raising holy hell, of having principles and everything, like all that, you either got to chuck that out the window if you want to stay within the space and like be like guilty conscience free,
Yeah.
or you either denounce that, you leave, or you're going to be a hypocrite. And people do not take light to hypocrites without the honesty that comes afterwards of being like, you know what? I shouldn't have done it in the
Yeah.
first place. That's on me. Like that. And no, I don't think there's enough people that are going to be honest with the conversations about it in the space. That's like, this shit sucks. But like right now, if you're supporting Cloud9, Team Liquid, 100 Thieves, FlyQuest, NRG, any of those organizations, if you show an ounce of support for them when they are accepting Saudi money and going to those tournaments, you're supporting it. You
Yeah.
can't remove
And
yourself from it. Your orgs are directly funded now by Saudi money. They are willing to take it. They're willing to accept it. If they get paid $10 million, that's going to pay for your roster changes. So you have to come to terms with that. And if you want to maintain the moral high ground, you got to stop watching then. Simple as that.
it's important to note too that like if you do end up changing later, like don't feel too villainized. Like people change opinions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be people who eventually do have to, more than likely, I'll say, will have to give up their stance and either let it be or stick with it to the very end and leave the space, which would be very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And that is, it's never like a huge deal to change your mind on something. Like people change their minds on things all the time. People get different perspectives and change, or just situations change so vastly that you could say, I don't want to watch the Esports World Cup and not watch it. And then you could end up like, like literally I'll have to quit watching everything if I want to get away from it. And that's okay to like say, all right, I do want to watch something of this, so I'm just going to get over it.
Yeah.
And it's okay to do that. But it does suck for all of us who are like, this is silly.
Yeah.
Because it is silly. And we know this probably shouldn't be happening. But also, like, it would be hypocritical of me to not watch this and keep watching college football. I mean, the Saudis are putting so much money in college football right now, and they're putting a ton of money into soccer.
Yep.
So anything in soccer you'd watch is overtaken. I am sure they own minor stakes to majority stakes in NBA and NFL teams that we just don't know of.
Yeah.
That they're keeping quiet. Like they they just have a lot of money.
And
Oil
it's
is
not
a
going to run
very
out
lucrative
until
business.
green, eco-friendly, sustainable energy pops off. Like that
Yeah.
money will continue to forever have value for them,
Yep.
and it's not going away anytime
Yeah.
soon. And it sucks. And I hope the money that these orgs get is
Yeah.
put to good use rather than pissing it away like the last time they got a cash injection.
Hmm.
But there's no escaping this in my mind. Like
Yeah.
that's why, at least in my mind, if this was going to be a one-off thing, that this tournament would be the only thing that we ever had to deal with in low esports, I would take the same stance as Travis.
Yeah.
If I could be like, look, I already have to deal with this in golf. I don't want to deal with it in League of Legends. I'm not going to. Like, you can call it hypocritical to take like a line in the sand stance now, but it's just like I'm tired of dealing with it everywhere else.
Yeah.
But that's like, come on, think about it for more than half a second. Is this really going to be the only event that they do? Is this really going to be the only thing that they're intertwined with? No.
They're gonna buy
No,
a team.
exactly. They're going to buy, like,
Yeah.
it's reported that they're trying to get 2 different teams in Europe. Like,
Hmm.
this isn't going away. The future of this is going, like, for Travis, I think this is me guessing. I'm not putting words in his mouth. This is just me summarizing. He's been doing a lot more with Magic as of late, and he doesn't have a sponsor for any of his league content. He's not dumb. I know he sees the writing on the wall in the same way that we do.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately my guess is that Travis will eventually get out of the little esports space. He's positioning himself in a way that kind of gives me that feeling of like, okay, he's building up everything else around him. He doesn't want to, but there might come a point in time where he has to, and he's going to make the choice to leave rather than stay.
Yeah. And like we've already seen the Saudis move, or really Middle Easterns move into uh European sports already. So it won't be shocking when they move into LEC because that's who owns Manchester City, like one of the most winningest teams lately in Europe is, or in like the Premier League, which is like their biggest league, is owned by Abu Dhabi's Royal Prince or whatever. So, I mean, it's one of those things like, is it going to suck for people? Is there going to be a massive, either A, like learning curve, or B, like ethical dilemmas behind it? Yeah, there's going to be a ton of those.
Yeah.
You're going to have to figure out how you want to cope with it. But they just are permeating sports. And there's nothing you can really do other than quit watching, I guess,
Yeah. And
which is like wild.
to note Zeus's beer He says in chat, it's hard for you since you're in the public sphere, but at the same time, I think if you say, well, I support this, that helps X thing, I strongly disagree with, so it's hypocritical to support this. Look, I'm not like this is the weird part. Is like 98% of the league audience doesn't have to worry about speaking up or saying shit. They could passively watch this and it never come to light. I mean, you ultimately could refrain if you wanted to, but I'm not in the position where I can just avoid this and like lie about it. I can't, nor would I want to. So it's like I'm just going to come out and say I don't like what the Saudi government's doing, obviously. But I'm not going to not watch the tournament because there's no reason for me not to. Like if I'm watching Live Golf and I'm watching these other things that are tied in with all of this, I'm just going to watch it. That doesn't mean that I support it. Like I'm not going to vocally go out and be like, yeah, Esports World Cup, I'm going to do marketing on behalf of them. No, I would turn down unless they give me like life-changing money. Like that was the conversation that we had at work the other day as well. It's like, if you're the Live PGA Tour guys, do you turn down $80 million just because it's LIV? Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
No, not in a million years.
If this is like the only way that you take money from it is if it literally changes your life for yourself, your kids, and generations to come. But like, I'm not gonna ever. The difference between how I'm trying to handle this and how I know others will is like I'm not putting myself in the position where I'm trying not to compromise myself in any way, but also just be honest and transparent about everything and how it is. That's like, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. That it's one you have to comment because you're in the public sphere. You have to put something out there, but
yeah, there's no way people actually like quit watching because of this. In my opinion, like a lot of people, I think there will be a lot of people who are really mad about it.
Yeah,
and we're gonna see that a ton over time.
And they should
be. Yeah, and they have every right to be. That's for sure. But it's one of those things of like, brother, they have so much money, and this is also an amount of money you can take from them. And you're talking about guys right now who are in scenes where this is like multi-year salaries, like of winnings for them to relax, kind of like not. I guess it'll make them less hungry in some ways, but I highly doubt it. This just gives them stability to play on the team they want to, which like isn't a bad thing, and it gives them an opportunity to like stay in the scene longer because money's not as big an issue because they can have such a big savings pool now.
Yep.
Which, I mean, those are all like, some people are going to call it cope, or like you're just giving reasons why they're taking dirty money, and it's like, yeah, I get it. Pisses people off, they're taking dirty money. But at the end of the day, unless you have like a way better somehow solution to not take this money and get this amount of money, then I don't know what you want. Like,
I don't know.
This is kind of blame our politicians from 30 years ago. I don't know what you want, bro. Yep. Like, listen, I didn't decide to make like getting oil in America as hard as possible and give a ton of tax breaks to the Middle East. Like, they chose that. That is what it is.
I'm curious. Do you think this is going to have any impacts on FlyQuest at all?
Probably not. No.
I don't think it will either. I don't think there's enough fans that are like purely like the eco-friendly stuff is going to be such a turn off for them that they're partnering with the Saudis that they're going to stop following them. Mm-hmm. I don't. Because I think they're going to ultimately be like, hey, yeah, look, we're taking the money, but we're also going to donate it to these causes, at least a portion of it. So we're still doing good things, and you can hate us for saying that, whether you like it or not, but we're going to take the money and partially put it to good things because otherwise that money's not going to that. And that's going to be their stance. That's how you're going to see everybody talk. And you're going to have people point the finger at them and be like, yeah, but you're accepting blood money. And they're just going to be like, this is our stance. We told you what we're going to do. You're either going to raise holy hell. You can keep raising holy hell. You can keep boycotting, protesting. But at the end of the day, you know, we're going to last longer than your protest probably will.
Mhm.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting because I'm waiting to see with Travis. Like, does he do his Magic the Gathering things at the Team Liquid facility now? And
I'm
all that?
still sure he does that.
But why would you want to be associated with Team Liquid?
I guess there is that, but
Like
you can like
that.
not watch the full event and still hang out with the people
Yeah,
who
but the
did.
bills for that facility are being paid for with that money.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah, I
reason it's
guess.
able to be sustained and stay there is because they're taking the money. It's like
Yeah.
that's where it's like sure, he might be able to draw that line in his head of like there's a distinction between the two. I can't. I know, like, as a finance guy, I know where that money touches. I know everything that it impacts. It's like it goes throughout everything.
I can feel it though from the sense of he's using that place to do a good thing. He's not supporting, watching, and promoting an event that he doesn't agree with. That's all he's doing. It doesn't mean he's going to cut off every organization. You know what I mean? That does
Yeah, but
go to the event, but he's just not promoting
those
their direct
organizations are
event.
gonna keep going to these events. They're not
Yeah,
gonna stop. Like they're
yeah,
gonna continuously support it. They're gonna be funded by it. Like people might be able to draw that line in their mind. I
you
don't.
can. Different strokes for different folks for sure on
Dirty
this.
Dirty Neptune, I would ask that you go back in the VOD because we directly address. Like I know he covered the hypocrite issue. I'm well aware of that. My point, like that, we're debating a sub point. At the end of the day, the broader
Yeah,
point is that Saudi money is going to take over esports in a much larger capacity than just the singular tournament. And you are not
yeah.
going to be able to separate yourself in the same way that PGA Tour and Live cannot separate themselves. That is it.
Especially, and I would prepare yourselves, people. I'm gonna warn people now. Especially if they pick one of these games they enjoy, like God forbid they decide they like League of Legends and they thought that was the most fun game they watch. Guess what, buddy? The Saudi League is about to have some of the biggest names in League of
Oh
Legends.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And
They'll
they're going
throw
to be on the
fuck you money.
crappiest. Yeah, they're going to be on crappy teams because of import rules, but they're going to have them. And there's a chance too. They've done this before to golf, and they've done it to other
They've done it to
sports
soccer.
too.
Think
Yeah,
about
they'll do.
Ronaldo.
Yeah, they have no issue with going in and buying a full team that can't even compete in World's tourneys because of import rules, and just having five of the greatest players in the world just to say they have them playing in their league.
Or they're just gonna buy out a team from each region.
Yeah, because
Like
like think about it, if one a year, if they decide we want like a really good team in our crappy whatever league, but they can't play, we'll let them play in our league, but they can't go to Worlds. If they go up to JoJo and offer him 3 mil to go over there and play out as their mid laner, how hard is it to say
JoJo's
no?
going. No,
He's gonna
dude.
have to really date it.
There. I mean, I don't even think they look at JoJo. I think you look at like caps at that point and
Well,
just
no, I
say,
was just naming a
"Oh
player
yeah."
like,
But
yeah,
they'll just look at caps and be like 10 mil 1 year.
yeah, 10 mil for 1 year. You don't get to play at Worlds, but you get to play here for 10 mil. Bet he takes it.
He ain't gonna turn
I
that
bet
down.
he
He
takes it.
ain't gonna turn that down. There's no way.
And they could do the same thing. They could go to LPL, pick one of their ADCs,
Yep.
say, bro, just come here for 1 year. 10
Pe-
mil. We just want to watch you play our teams
People
and
were
beat them.
shocked whenever Faker was making $7.5 million annually. Saudis can triple that, like it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Easily. Yeah, it's gonna be a joke. People are gonna be like really confused, but
The straw hat arguments are going to be strong on that one.
especially I would be worried if I'm a fan of a game that doesn't have good import rules.
Oh yeah,
Like, I don't know what other games are like really. I don't know how Call of Duty's is.
there's no such
I
thing
don't
because it's
know.
just one general league.
Yeah. I don't know how Apex works, but dude, if you don't think if the Saudis told like TSM, a team with basically no morals, hey, we want your guys to play over here in some Asian league, but play from Saudi Arabia to qualify, I'm sure they would pay him a dumb amount of money and like let him go over there with the TSM banner. You know how quick they do that? They don't care anymore.
Yep. Yep.
I mean,
And
they'll give you dumb money, bruh.
and even say they want to buy out a team, it's not like Riot's going to reject them. Riot already took the bag in terms of the tournament and let it
Yeah,
go there. They ain't going to stop a team.
no, no.
That's not going
I
to
mean,
happen.
shoot, if this would be my nightmare, but if they wanted to, they could take the TSM banner, just plant it in LEC, and offer such a stupid amount of money to do it and back it. And I don't think Reggie has the spine to say no.
No. I wonder if that would give them enough motivation to say no for on Riot side.
That's what I would want to see.
Cuz
Would that be enough?
that's a lethal concoction. Where like Riot's and they're
Terrible.
like, "Oh, you're giving me the worst of the worst right now."
Yeah, yeah.
But
You're
but if they say, "Look, we'll give you 5 million a kickback on the side," like,
yeah.
hmm, I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out in 2 years. Guaranteed.
I mean, them. I could see the Saudis just trying to buy Gen G straight up too,
Oh
with
yeah.
their CEO always complaining about money.
Yep.
Like Gen G's probably one of those teams. LPL would be the hardest.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, and China's
they'd.
not going to let Saudi Arabia buy them out.
Yeah,
So,
no, they're
like
not going to.
China's the one that like I don't think they touch the LPL, but every
Mhm.
other region is like
Yeah,
prime
they could
target to be
put a
picked
team in
off.
your region. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Saudis would love to go fund an LCK team to beat a Chinese team.
Yep.
They have nothing better to do than build their own super team, which they wouldn't even have to build
Nope.
because those are the super teams.
And every player would want to play for them
Oh yeah,
for the salaries. It like
you know,
people don't understand how ugly this could get so quickly that line in the sand that people are drawing just gets just completely eviscerated.
you know how quick KC Calliste becomes TSM Calliste because of Saudi money, or like
Jesus.
Giant X Calliste, like. All it takes, bro, is them offering you a dumb amount of money. You're on a different team,
Yep.
and they got it. Giant X becomes like the best
Oh
team in the
Jesus
world
Christ,
just
no.
because of money.
Please no. Speaking of best team in the world, Immortals got a new head coach. I promise we will
Okay.
actually talk about MSI. I'm just saving it for later because there's not all that much to talk about for MSI
Mhm.
wise. But what do you think of Inero going to Immortals?
Um, we talked about a little bit earlier, but it's just like it is what it is. It's probably going to be a project. It's going to take a couple seasons, I think. You can't expect guys to just repeat on repeat success. It's just not how League of Legends works, and I don't even know what Immortals has resources wise. Like,
I
doesn't
that
seem like a lot.
It doesn't seem like a lot, but then again, they're like they had deep venture capital pockets, but they kind of pulled back. So I don't
Hmm.
know. I do not know at all. I would
I mean,
say
it's interesting-ish, but
I would say
yeah.
this. Um, I have a lot of faith in Inero personally. So he joins Echo Fox right at the beginning of franchising. They have that third place run with Hooney and was that Phoenix or was it Hooney, Phoenix, Dardoch, and I forget. I think it was like Apollo Hawk. No, it wasn't Apollo Hawko. I forget who their bot lane was.
What are you talking about? For
Echo Fox.
Immortals?
Whenever they joined,
Echo Fox? Oh,
whenever
yeah.
like the original franchising roster, when they had like the hockey jerseys.
Yeah.
So he he was with them, and then he gets let go after or in July of that year. Then he joins Golden Guardians. Every time that he tried to build a roster, they slash his budget out from underneath him to the point where he's stuck picking up college players for minimum salary because they're the only ones that'll take 75K.
Hmm.
So then they finally up his budget a little bit. Okay. He then builds what would go on to be the 2021 100 Thieves LCS Championship roster plus DeMonte and I forget who they had in top lane. I think it was Hanser. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was Hanser at that time. So he builds a really solid roster and like actually coaches them to be better in the sum of their parts. They get that win over TSM
Mhm.
in the playoffs, which helped you guys go on to win a title. So it's not like he hasn't done stuff. And then they his team gets taken out from underneath him again. His budget
Yep.
gets cut again. And he has another year where he just can't do anything. They finally give him a little bit more money, and he gets a team second place in spring and still gets on the Worlds, although they bombed out against, BDS in the
Yeah.
qualifier last year. Like the dude is clearly good with minimal resource. He doesn't require much to be able to get stuff done. So I'm thinking like he can actually make Immortals into potentially a decent franchise.
Yep.
But then the problem is Immortals is going to get bought out, and everything that he's going to have done is going to be completely irrelevant. And somebody's going to buy him out and want to start over fresh.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get cucked
And
by the nature of his own ways.
yeah, I think he's fine. I think as a coach, I kind of have a little less, like as Colin was saying, I have a little less trust in him. But also like he's just always seems to be in bad positions or something goes wrong for him that it's hard to trust that it magically goes right with Immortals of all places. Like where they everything has seemed to go wrong for the
Yep.
past 4 years. Like I don't know, maybe it's fine. He probably has a better shot than he used to because he is a pretty good, I would say, to at least great talent evaluator.
Yeah.
Like that would be the range, good to great. And then he doesn't really have the problem of people buying out rosters anymore because I
Nope.
don't think anybody has the money to do it. So it
Not until
should be
after
fine.
the Esports World Cup. Then they might.
Yeah. Yeah. And at that point, whoever wins the Esports World Cup is keeping that roster for
Yep.
a little bit. Which it probably won't be one of ours, let's be
No,
honest.
it won't be. But there's that team bonus for like the organizations that have multiple teams there.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Seen that.
I have more faith in Inero to turn that ship around at least a little bit.
Yeah.
I just don't think I'm just worried that he's gonna get caught up in the same thing that has happened to him every single time, which is just like come in, start to turn it around, start to build a little bit of fandom, and then he just gets the rug pulled out from underneath him, whether it's the org leaving or them slashing his budget again.
Yep. That's the only reason I don't trust it. It's just like everything goes tough for him.
I
Bad
wonder,
things always seem to happen.
makes you wonder why can't he get on like a top team? Why is he stuck to the like? Because he's clearly proven his worth as like a talent scout and like a general manager.
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. I think it's because of just how probably how nepotism in general functions. Like he's never had a good relationship with the top team or been a part of one, so they just won't rehire slash recycle.
Yeah,
Like that's just how it is. He's always been kind of tossed around on um mid-level to bottom tier teams. I highly doubt it's that he's asking too much money. Like he's on a bottom tier team, but maybe it is though. That is a possibility. And so if you're always being tossed around the bottom tiers, it's one of those things of like a top tier team can't hire you because if they do, people like just get mad unnecessarily.
yeah.
Like he's not kind of hyped up as this like exciting thing. Like imagine if C9 hired him instead of Reaper. Like people would be like, "Why'd you do that?" Because his reputation isn't there. They'd be like, "This is stupid." But in reality, is he really worse than Reaper for all things considered? Like at getting the sum of his parts to do what they need to do? No,
No,
he's pretty good at it. You could give him a chance and it would make sense. And it's been a while since we've seen Reaper really do something exciting. But Reaper is just more popular and more interesting to the common fan.
I also think Reaper is like the type of coach to go into a situation and just flip it on its head, whereas Inero is
Hmm.
going to go and make the most out of what you give him. And it's like when I look at what C9 needs right now, I don't think they need somebody that's going to make the most out of like the parts that they have. Like in theory, it sounds great given like how good your parts are, but
Hmm.
you need somebody that Jack can trust to come in and crack the belt. And I don't get that impression from Inero, at least not from what we've seen. So I don't know. I kind of I like the move for them. I would almost him rather have gone to Dignitas with Licorice,
Hmm.
but maybe I don't know. I'd be curious to know what all offers he had and chose from. That's one thing that I wish was like more well known within sports reporting is like how many offers do coaches have? Because we talk about it with like Bill Belichick and others like that, where it's like, where are they gonna land? Like these are the options. These are the teams that they visited with. It's like, I want to know who Inero visited with. Who did he have conversations with? Who was he down to like final decision level with? And like what was the
Yeah.
deciding factor between them?
Yeah. And I also like I was just using an example. So it is like one of those like I didn't really expect them to hire him type deal. Just examples. And there is like maybe though he wouldn't have been terrible there, I guess you could make an argument because like he would help them with team fighting and stuff. But you're definitely right that Dig would have been the more interesting hire and the more like sensible one.
Yeah.
It would have made a lot more sense to go with Dig. Or for Dig to look into him.
Yeah. I mean the problem is you don't know like is there somebody within like general management above them that like just doesn't
Hmm.
like them that has a bad pat like you don't know what people's relationships with one another are and that complicates everything like I mean that's it could be
And
partially
you took out two
nepotism it could be
teams.
just a bunch of shit.
Yeah. And you also took out two teams.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, if we're being realistic, like even taking away the nepotism argument, well, it is kind of nepotism, but it just is what it is. Or just sticking with your guys. Like Liquid has Dodo, they've had him for a while. They're not going to get
No,
rid of him. It
they're
is what
not
it
moving
is.
on from him.
Especially now they just won one. 100 Thieves has Jungle Juice. They've had him for a while, and he's been doing fine. I would say like he's
last year
hasn't
was
he
his
won something there?
last year was his first year of GMing. He took over after Papa Smithy left and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Papa Smithy left at the begin like at the end of 2022 going into 2023. So
Hmm.
Jungle Juice's first build was the Bjergsen double lift closer Busio tenacity roster, which I think in
Hmm.
theory is still what like they wanted to do. It sucks that Bjergsen retired. It sucked that closers, hands literally fell off of him and now he's going to K Corp, which is going to be wild to watch.
Hmm.
Uh but like I don't think that was necessarily a problem. I mean, coaching staff definitely felt like it lacked a little bit, but I don't
And
know.
Inero had a job,
Yeah.
so there's that. And Jungle Juice was like an in-house guy they wanted to rotate to, and
Yep.
that's just how it is. In hiring is very popular in America. It
Yep.
just is. And if you look at FlyQuest, they have Papa Smithy.
Yep.
That's a pretty good guy. Been around the scene forever. Good GM. They're not going to cut him.
Nope.
And then who's even the other team he could have gone to? C9 has High, and they have a ton of other people there. They're
I
not.
I still feel like he'd be a great fit for C9. Like as a general manager.
Who, Inero?
Yeah.
Maybe, but they have their guys, and I just see them as one of those teams that's like, we
Yeah,
have our guys.
if you weren't part of the system at an early level, you're not going to get
Hmm.
promoted up. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And I know they switch out players pretty frequently, but they seem to like their staff guys for longer than they should sometimes,
Yeah.
like Mithy. And it is what it is. And then the only other thing you can think of is like, I don't know, what other teams are even left for me? Yeah, it's just Shopify And
Which they're Shopify's not going to change anything. They're in their first split.
yeah, and Shopify's not like a great job for them. It's not like they had a massive budget. Immortals, Dig, and who's the other team in the league that I can't even remember right now? I'm blanking for no reason. Shopify more. I hate to say this.
Shopify and Immortals
I'm
missed
not even gonna
playoffs.
say it. I'm not gonna say it.
No, Shopify and Immortals
It's
missed
my
playoffs.
team, bro.
Oh,
It's my team.
NRG.
Don't.
You idiot. You
Yep.
idiot.
Yep.
Way to go.
Yep. I figured it out while I was talking. To be fair, I want to be fair to people. I'm not saying I'm not trying, but there was a gank in LVLCS finals, and Team Popo's up 2-0, and I was watching it, so that is on me. But also, NRG was never gonna hire him, especially after winning split. Why would they? Just
And
doesn't make
they have
sense.
Think Hard and they have Croissant. They're not moving on. Like, those two are going to be like
Yeah,
the
they're not
face of the
moving on.
franchise. I don't know.
They get at least 2 years for winning a title. That's how it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Players don't, coaches do.
Yeah. Is there any other news around like LoL esports before we move on to MSI? I feel like there was a few things that happened. Like, LPL. You're messaging me this morning. Your format change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, huge format change, which is going to be awesome.
Setting up for the 3 international events. I think they'll be able to condense that schedule a little bit more, which is going to be interesting to watch. I love that the groups are geolocated. That is so fucking cool.
We talked about this last night in the chat. I was talking about how like LPL's the only or the only real league that's not always complaining about not having money. And they're the only one that's really put this big effort in geolocation and in-person events. And, you know, the whole, like, Riot's worst nightmare, they've even been trying to figure out how to make money from geolocated events.
Yep.
Which Riot seems allergic to.
Yep.
Don't ask me why, but they are. And it's like, yeah, you can make money from these, and it can be pretty stinking good, and they're figuring it out, and it's working for them. So
I'm curious. Is the format as complicated as people are making it out to be, or is it just people can't read?
It's more, to me, people can't read, but also it's confusing for people because there's not going to be a ton of games. Well, there are going to be a ton of games.
I was going to say, I read that the amount of games is going to be similar, no? To what it currently is now.
Yeah, people can't understand it because LPL plays so much. That's what I meant to say. I said the wrong thing, sorry. But there's so many games that are going to be played because there's so many, like, one-round best of Robins. There's 2 of them, which is a lot, really. And the groups aren't, though, as massive as people are thinking. They're thinking it's 2-round robins in each group, right? So in the first stage, and everyone's going, oh, that's way too many games. Like, they're never going to get through this. It's in your group. It's not like the whole league playing 2-round robins. You just play in your group twice in best of 3s, which we're already not familiar with. So when we read best of 3, we think that's playoffs.
Yep.
Any American does. And really any Westerner thinks that's playoffs. And that's not how it is in Asia. That's regular season. And then they play another round robin after that. And that probably even confuses people even more because they don't know what they're reading. And by the end of the day, it's like, no, it's just if you're a good team in the early regular season, you get rewarded handsomely.
Yep.
That's all it's doing. It gives you a very easy route to playoffs.
And you also get, in that round too, if you're top 2 in your group A and you make it through there, dude, you get so much good practice against the better teams in the league. Like, the top side is going to be so freaking good.
Yeah. No, that's true.
And, like, the bottom half of that, you know, first and foremost, you lost 2 best of 3s prior to even getting to that point. So, you know, you do need the time to work on developing before you face the big boys. And that's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get time to focus on playing the teams that are around your skill level while still watching
True.
the top teams play and eventually earn your way back up to playing them.
Yep.
Like, I really, really like this LPL system.
Hmm. It's gonna be insane because the amount of like overall games played or different teams playing is gonna be a little down, so that's gonna bother people. But just fearless draft to start it is gonna be so crazy.
Oh, I know.
Like there could be a team, bro, that just super struggles with the fearless draft, and then like in the next round just starts curb stomping people. And teams that vice versa, like fearless draft helps them a lot because other teams don't have as deep champ pools as them.
Is there not fearless draft in round two and three?
No, round two goes back to regular draft.
Interesting.
They're only doing it for the group stage because they said like they don't that since it's such a new thing, they're trying to slow roll it
Yeah, they
and
want they want to test
teams,
it
yeah,
first.
they don't want teams losing because of like or not making playoffs because of fearless draft type of deal.
Yeah. Which is why nobody gets eliminated on round one. It literally just seeds you into either upper bracket
Yeah.
or lower bracket. That's
And also
interesting.
they don't want to I think they go back to regular draft because you want your teams to have a good 2 months of prep for worlds of regular drafting. You don't want
Yeah.
them playing a whole different version of league.
I mean, yeah, I guess for this split that makes the most amount of sense. But I mean, we'll get the update in June on what it looks like for next year. Where
Hmm.
I think we're gonna get completely rid of standard drafting. I think Fearless is gonna become not. I don't even know if Fearless is gonna become standard everywhere, but at a minimum, something is going to drastically change going into League next year.
Yeah, probably because there's just way too much what is it, champions now?
Yeah.
And it worked when the game was way smaller and there were like less than 100. It was fine. But now there's like they're in the 160s to 70s and that is just an absurd amount of champions in the game and there's no reason that we should be watching the same champions being played every game.
According to esports.net, there are 162 champions.
Yeah,
That is
that's
that is wild.
that's way too many.
And here's the thing that I don't think many people were thinking about yet. Uh, we're due for another champion here shortly. Like I think next week we get a teaser
Yeah.
on it because Smolder was the last champion to get released, and that was back on January 31st.
Hmm. Which is crazy. That champ was something else.
Yeah.
Have they been slowing down champion releases though? I feel
Uh,
like they have been.
so that's what I'm looking at now. 2023 they released. I mean this is including like the end of the year too. Uh, one, two, three, four. There were four champions last year: Melio, Nafiri, Briar, Hui. In 2022, there was one, two, three, four, five. It was Zeri, Renata, Belveth, Nilo, Casante.
Okay.
So we're due for a new champion, which is going to up
Mhm.
it to 163. 10 bans and 10 picks. That's 20 out of 100. No, I'm sorry. That's not.
Yeah, it's not
We
enough.
need more in pro play at this point. You either need more bans, but I don't even know if more bans really helps all that much. I would just rather see fearless draft or like I'm a big fan of like true fearless. And I know Mark Z was like, oh, but by the time you get through to the end of the series, like 50 champions are gone if you do that. Whenever both teams pick a champion and it's gone, it's like, yeah, I like that. There's
Mhm.
162 champions in the game. If you can't make a combination of 50 champions work, that's on you.
Yep. And I mean, as we've talked about before, and this is with all sports in general, like as time goes on and there's power creep and just in general tech of the game changes, right?
Yep.
Like you if you're playing league in 2024 or 2025 next year, you should be able to play more champs,
Yes.
than the guys in 2013. in 2010 were playing. Like, you just should be able to.
Yep.
Like, back then, there were way less champs, so guys were really good at certain things, and that's how it was. By now, dude, you can have an app tell you every single little thing you're doing wrong and coach you to be better. You should be better than that guy. Like, it's just how it is. You have more money, you have more coaching staff. Well, I guess you don't have more money anymore, but you have more coaching staff, you have more resources. Like, you should be doing more than what people were in the past.
Yep.
That's just how it is. If you're really a one trick, then you're just not cut out for it.
No.
I
Sorry,
mean,
but
now,
you're not.
yeah, it's like nowadays where, what is it in basketball when people like are talking about how unfair it is about something stupid? It's like, yeah, okay, I get it. Like, 3-point is now like such a big deal and so overused, blah, blah, blah. Everybody thinks it's boring. It's like, well, that's just how it goes at this
Yep.
point. Like,
Either
that is just
adapt
a
or die.
part of the game. Yeah.
Any other topics before we go on to MSI? Because you realize by the time we have our next podcast, FlyQuest will have played their first series.
What? They play like Tuesday?
They play Wednesday at 4 a.m.
What? Nah, I thought they didn't play for a minute.
You can pull up the schedule if you want. We are less than a week away from MSI kicking off.
I thought I had more time. Oops.
Nope. All right, give me your bold predictions. I need 3 things right now. Who is winning?
They play May 1st.
Yep. Who is winning MSI? Who will be the highest placing North American team and where do they finish? And will any minor region team get out of play-ins?
It's winning. I'm gonna go. Because China keeps winning MSI, I think it's China event. I'm gonna go BLG.
Okay.
And I know more people are saying Gen G, but MSI has never been a Korea event.
No, it is not.
I think it's more of a Chinese event. And in case people don't know, all BLG did was take the same team from last year and add Knight to it. So their only problem was mid lane. And Knight is really good, so they really don't have a problem for being up. Although Top could win it too. I'll give Top that. They're very good.
I don't think Top wins it, personally.
Top is very good, but they are not BLG at all. 369 is amazing in top lane. Tien played way better than what people were saying. Mo, that's just me. And they have a good bottom lane. But Elk is playing out of his mind. And only for the fact that Chovy just for some reason, bro, can't play on an international stage. It just hasn't happened yet. I'm gonna go BLG. Also, I think T1 is more of a rising team as well. They're not an MSI team.
I am going to go with a full prediction for the entire year. We're going to get the full Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes storyline within League of Legends this year. And by that, are you familiar with WWE at all?
Mm-mm.
At MSI, we are going to see BLG beat Gen G in the finals in a close best of 5 where you think that Gen G has it, but it slips through their hands for whatever reason.
Okay.
And then Gen G is going to win Worlds this year and beat BLG in the rematch at Worlds Finals.
Oh, okay. Which is also, can I say, I still think it's dumb that we don't have bracket resets in League of Legends.
Oh, I know. I still can't stand it.
That's stupid. You should not. there is no world where you have double elimination that isn't real double elimination. Because it isn't. It's not double elimination.
Nope.
The winner's bracket, it's only double elimination if the winner's bracket team gets spotted a win or the bracket resets.
And
That's
that's
the only way.
I think it would be hilarious to see Gen G get to finals via the winners bracket and then lose to BLG. BLG coming from losers bracket, like knocking out top, knocking out T1, and then taking down Gen G without getting the bracket reset, which will piss so many people off. And then you get the single best of 5 single elimination rematch at Worlds Finals. And it's just the most insane thing you've ever like, and it'll be the most hyped finals we've had ever. Because I don't even think finals last year was like extreme. I don't think finals for the last like few years have been all that hype, barring Damwon EDG.
Yeah.
I think that's the only finals in recent memory that I can think of that was like, yeah, that finals was like really exciting for a lot of people. Like people were going back and forth on each. But that's where I think we end up this year. So second question then. How far does North America get? In all honesty.
I mean, more than likely lower bracket round 2.
So are you going to predict that basically we have to beat Europe to move on, and do we beat Europe? Because the way the brackets work, we can't play each other until
Oh
lower
yeah, I
bracket round
forgot about
3.
that.
So
Forgot about that.
we cannot get knocked out by each other. We have to, like, the only way that we get knocked out, if we knock out each other, it has to be much later in the tournament, of which we will have already completely eliminated Europe.
No, yeah. Yeah, I would say I think FlyQuest can pretty handily beat Europe's 2 seed. Who is it again?
Fnatic.
Dang it, thank you. Okay. Yes, Fnatic is not, in my opinion, good
But
enough. G2 is very good.
I don't think that would
Like
be how the
that.
bracket would work, though, would it?
I mean, FlyQuest or TL. I
Because
think either could handle them.
because okay, there's the question then. So in theory, because they're the lower seed, FlyQuest would end up playing G2. And TL would end up playing Fnatic. So you're saying TL beats Fnatic. Does FlyQuest beat G2?
I think no. I think FlyQuest loses to them and then goes down. Yeah.
And
Well,
then
wait, do all the 2 seeds start? No, they all start top bracket, right?
everybody gets double elimination, yeah, but it's going to basically
Yeah.
be it will end up being like like the 2 seeds against the 1 seeds of the different regions. Now, I don't think we can play. There's a chance that we play Europe like early on, and like for some random reason Korea draws China in the first round, but like you won't have to worry about. The big thing is like us team killing each other. That can't happen. So it's just a matter of like whether it's an upper bracket or lower bracket. It's probably going to be FlyQuest versus G2, TL versus Fnatic at some point, and then assuming they don't get knocked out by or like assuming everything goes as planned and like Europe and NA lose their first round matchups, like we'll get G2 versus TL.
Yeah. Yeah, more of a probably a believer in uh I really do think that Fnatic is probably the worst of the 4. G2 is probably best of the 4, even though I know like people are gonna say, remember last
Go
year?
fuck
You're gonna
yourself.
say that.
Go fuck
But I
yourself.
mean, dude, they're coming off like a disappointing year, you know? Like they they're a bit more what would you call it? Like driven this year. I think they want to reprove themselves.
And you think
I
APA
do.
doesn't?
I think he does. I just think Caps wanting to prove himself means more to me APA.
I think whenever APA solo kills Caps, we're gonna have a whole different conversation.
Maybe. I
I
doubt it, but maybe.
I cannot wait for that matchup.
I do think last year NRG was playing like a lot of their players were peaking,
Yeah. I would
like
say,
career
but I would say
wise.
that's what's happening in turn. Well, okay, we don't know where their ceiling is, but I would say that APA and Yawn are both peaking at the moment.
I think they definitely have like TL has the talent to hang with them. I think FlyQuest has the talent, if we're being honest, other than their bottom lane.
Hey, Master's
Like
not
they
fasting
have,
anymore.
yeah, that can be an excuse all you want, buddy. But
No, I mean the biggest excuse for them, which we have not heard anything on, is their assistant coach.
yeah, I mean that
I'm
can be
assuming
an
he's
excuse
still not
too.
with the team. So if he was the one mostly in charge of drafting, have they brought in somebody else? I haven't heard anything.
I mean, also their bottom lane just is not as good as TL's.
Yeah, I agree.
Their bottom lane's probably not as good as any of the other Western teams.
No, no, I would agree.
But
But their top side's good.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know if they're, Zeus, Bin, uh,
yeah, they're good. But do you think Fly is gonna have, let's say, a fun time when if they ever have to face BLG, and how much does that tilt you? Does break your mind? Like when Elk and On are just like applying pressure that you've never felt in your life. Or if you're like, let's say they don't get them because they are a 2 seed. So luckily for them, if they don't get Elk and On, the good news is they'll go and play Pays. Like that's no better. Pays literally just like makes you feel like you suck the whole game. Like he's a prodigy. Literally a prodigy. Like even if it's not a bot, well, okay, I'll give you this, buddy. It's not a bot centric meta, but Koreans and Chinese will show you how good they are.
yeah.
They make you think it still is. That's how good they are at the game, bro. They figure the game out. Like they're wild with the ADCs
That's why
in their hand.
I have a lot of faith in TL this tournament for whatever reason. I don't know. I got that.
Yana's really good.
Remember, I got that feeling at Worlds with NRG, and everybody doubted me and said that
Yeah,
I was crazy for it. I'm getting that same feeling with TL here because I feel like in a world where we're saying like, okay, top lane carries are back. If there is one North American top laner that can nullify those top laners,
yeah, it's Impact.
it's Impact. And then Umti has already played against like almost every player there. Like he knows he's more experienced than most. Core JJ is Core JJ. You're just looking at Yawn and APA to step up. And as we've
Mhm.
continuously seen over and over and over again, they can. And I have faith that APA will learn and will be able to do it. And Yawn, I think, legitimately is going to. I think he's the best bot laner of the West right now.
Yeah, maybe.
I think he's better than Hans, and I think he's better
Yeah,
than Noah.
he's better than Noah. I'd have to debate him and Hans, and I'd have to watch more games of both of them. Like actually, just watch them. You know what I mean? But I that is the thing I will say. Like when you think about G2, they are beatable. I just think like they're being due for a win is a real thing, and they are due for a win. But also like, okay, you may not like that, but you love narratives, and you know that's a true thing. Some
Yeah,
people are just due to beat other people.
and I know that TL is going to be criminally underrated. And the last time Impact made it to MSI, what did he do?
Made finals.
No, actually, he didn't perform all that well because he was with the Evil Geniuses and they shit the bed. But the last time Core JJ
Oh, I mean, yeah,
was
they
at
did that.
MSI, they made it to finals. So
Oh
take
yeah.
that for what you will. And you with the old bait and switch there. Made you think it
How
was
many
one thing.
years ago was that?
5.
Good.
How many years has it been since Jackie Love did anything on the international stage?
I don't know
A lot.
how many.
A lot is the answer.
Yeah, well, the good thing is like That's not
Uh,
really. Maybe you know what? Maybe they do upset top. No, yeah,
I
maybe they.
okay. Here's my thing. I don't think we're beating any of the Korean teams. We never have. Like we've never beat T1 ever. We're not going to start that now, in my opinion. Gen G, if they choke, great. We can take advantage of that. Fine. I think if we're on a day, we could possibly pull off an upset against top. As long as they're not firing on all cylinders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree with Hello. I think my dream round 1 is top versus TL. I think that's
why top?
that is our best chance.
Why? Why top? Why would you pick top?
Because
Can't we play
there's more
Europe? Wouldn't we
volatility
play
there.
G2?
There's more volatility.
Or no. We
No,
could
they
play
can't.
Fnatic.
Yeah. Okay, but the thing is,
Why would you pick top over Fnatic?
because here's why. Because then you have to face the 2 seed loser from one of the other sides, and you'll get probably a Korean team. You'll probably get like, or well, it's complicated. The way the bracket will work is if we face a European team, the loser, like the other matchup, has to be Korea versus China. So you're playing the loser of that series, and you're getting a 2 seed no matter what. I'm just
But I
assuming
thought you
that.
play the winner of the next round. Isn't it upper bracket?
Oh wait, yeah. In that case, it's even worse. Then we're playing the 1 seed. Like we're not like I'm sorry, we're not beating BLG or Genji.
Oh, so you'd rather try to play G2 later? Is that what you mean?
We're gonna be forced to play G2 no matter what. The bracket will force us to get there
Dude, I
at
think
some
you
point.
want to play Fnatic. You want to take the easy
Well,
win
no.
when you
Well,
can
my
get it.
point is that we'll end up playing them in the losers bracket regardless. If we lose round 1 to top, we play Fnatic.
Yeah. Why not take them in the first rounds and get
Because
one that much farther?
okay, great. If we get lucky on the draw and get Fnatic, yeah, I'm happy with that. But like, I'm assuming like
Okay.
the best of the hard options, the best of like the East
Oh,
that
it's
we can
top.
play is top.
Okay, well, you didn't say it. To be fair to me, you were saying that. You said top is a really ideal matchup, and I was like, bro, Fnatic? I was like, what are we doing?
The problem is if we play like if it's an NA versus EU matchup in the first round of upper bracket, it fucks the bracket heavily because some team from China or Korea is about to get the greatest warm-up run in losers bracket that they could ever ask for. And they're just going to start firing on all cylinders. Unless they're really underperforming. But even then, like then they don't deserve it. But like gut feeling says like if TL draws Fnatic, by requirement, they will either then have like the loser will have to play against it will be either well just one of the big four. Any one of those big four can go on a run in a loser's bracket and win it all.
Mm.
That's terrifying. I'd rather not. Like, I'd rather them stay up in the upper bracket until we have to worry about it later, unless we can pull off the like real upset against top. And in that case, then my confidence is restored. I'll see you in losers bracket. I'm fine with that. We could do it
I think
twice.
you do want to avoid top though. Like, because I know you love Impact, big fan, but top does have 369. Like, they have Cream in mid lane, who's probably like not the worst matchup of all the mid laners, but still not fun to play. I will. Jungle's gonna be hard because Tien is not playing bad right now. Like, kind of back. And Jackie Love, bro, is like actually really good. Like,
Yeah,
like,
Yon can beat Jackie Love. We'll be fine.
bro.
I saw Reckless put Jackie Love in a body
maybe,
bag.
maybe,
I have faith.
maybe,
I
maybe.
have faith. Hello, just there is no bracket for knockout stage. We're not talking about play-ins. We're talking about pure bracket stage, which is just hypotheticals.
Jay, I can't even get to Mako because he's already on this idea that Yon wins the lane.
I think
it's so pointless.
yeah, I think Yon wins lane. Simple as that. There's a hypothetical one for it. There is, but there's possibilities as well. There's no sense pulling up a hypothetical bracket when we know the general idea of possibilities.
It will be interesting though to see where our power's at for TL.
Yeah.
Like that will be really interesting because if they're in a good spot, like let's say they do beat top, or like they get a Fnatic and they somehow beat in another team in the next rounds, like that would be the most interesting thing. Like,
how much does that do for North America if we're able to pull off a best of 3 upset against
a
against
top
the
tier
East?
team? A ton, I would say. Like for NA like confidence, especially because probably on paper this isn't our best team. It is because they won the league.
Yeah.
But in our head, C9 is like our dark horse for Worlds.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
this does a ton.
I just think it's one of those that like I don't know. I just get a really oddly positive feeling about Worlds this year or MSI this year.
I think the biggest problem would be is if TL has to go against top, is that Cream is a really aggressive mid laner. And he can play really good assassins and other things and abuse a mage
Yeah.
player.
Oh, it's gonna
And
that will test APA.
yeah,
That'd
that
be
APA is gonna be really pushed. I know he's been playing good, so it's never a bad thing. But
yeah.
yeah, the top plays really good as a team. The thing is, BLG, like, I'm telling you, bro, like, if you watched, did you watch that series? Did you get a chance to?
I watched a
Like,
few
watch
highlights of it, not all that
highlights?
much.
If you watch them all from like game one, like the way that uh On and Elk are playing that stinking Lucian Nami is like,
Oh,
dude,
you know,
it's
I
like
saw a
what
few. It's disgusting.
yeah, it's like what Cloud9 was trying to do that one series,
Yeah.
but like just couldn't actually make it happen in the same way. And the way the rest of the team plays around the Lucian Nami is like, dude, when you see it being played in like that kind of way, you're like, oh, I get it. Okay. I get why this is so good. Like, because for these guys, this is insane. Like, they suffocate you.
Yeah.
But
I mean, look, I get it. I do. I'm not saying that we're favored against them in any way, shape, or form. Don't get me wrong on that. But I have a feeling. I have a feeling that we're gonna be fine.
I mean,
This
the good
MS.
news is like plans look like there really won't be an upset.
No, it's gonna. Dude, Fnatic got the easiest fucking walk
They
in the
did.
world.
They got a good one.
If they get knocked out by the VCS, I'm going to laugh my ass off.
How? So here's a question: how alarming is it if FlyQuest loses to PSG?
I don't think they do.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if they
We
do,
won't.
where is the
We're
alarm?
not.
Like, yeah, but where
It's
would you
not
put
happening.
the theoretical
No,
alarm
there's no
bell?
theoretical. It's not happening. I live in
Okay.
reality.
Okay.
How many games did we lose against minor regions last MSI?
I mean, I don't think we've lost against the minor region in years.
We lost against GAM at Worlds.
Oh, this year?
Yeah.
Who was it?
TL. Remember they imploded?
Yeah.
And Summit and Piosik were just checked out that entire series, and Piosik
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
running it down. There's a chance where FlyQuest is mental boomed after finals, and Jensen and Inspire just fucking hate each other. Which, by the way, did you see the Let's Go series?
Mm-mm.
They were talking about it, and they put out the clip because uh basically they were trying to put like Inspired notably was like putting a lot of blame on Jensen. And they put out a behind the scenes clip of like Jensen just agreeing to play Annie because like they were like his team was trying to put him on Annie. And it's like that wasn't his choice. You forced him to do that. Now, granted, the vegan build, quote unquote, is on him. But like, you forced him on the ante. That's like, you took him away from the thing that he was good at all split. So there's a world where like a mental boom, but they're not losing to PSG. It's not happening. I'm telling you right now, it's not happening. If we do, I will entertain your thought for a second. If we do, I don't think we lose to him a second time in losers bracket. I think if we're gonna lose,
I can agree with that.
If we're gonna lose to PSG, it's gonna be in the first round, and that's it. But I think when we 2-0 them, it's gonna become irrelevant.
I can agree with that.
I'm all eyes on Fnatic.
Figure it out quick.
Fnatic is my really, really wild one.
Why?
Just because, like, they always start off slow. And I could see a world where they beat Gam, they lose the top, and then, like, Loud or Gam just does something fucking wild and beats them.
It would be incredible to see Loud win. I'll give you that.
I would love it.
But Loud, no pun intended for this, but the Loud crowd is really big. Like,
they are
really big.
But have you seen any of their games?
No.
It's bad. It's like
bad?
People want to make fun of like North American macro. Like, it is so bad.
Hey, every blind squirrel finds a nut twice sometimes.
I mean, maybe. I think your best chance is that Gam like just out hand stiffs them in the lanes that matter. Like, just put all resources into the 3 remaining players from your cheater summer split. Like
on accident. That would be. I really wish that VCS actually would have just sold all their best players to Gam.
That would have been great.
How funny that would have been.
Oh, it would have been so fun. And then they get draw, or Fnatic gets them. Fnatic loses twice. Oh, that'd be so funny.
That would have been so funny.
I mean, this will be a real test too, because like BDS was the 4th seed from Europe. They nearly got beat by the PCS and play-in stage last year. Most people were trying to make the argument that EU looks even worse this year than last year. This will be your test. What
were you gonna say though?
I'm saying if Fnatic looks iffy against Gam, if I'm an EU fan, I'm hitting the panic button.
I don't know though. I think it's kind of the same thing. Like, you would expect them to win the next 2, right? No.
I mean, you would, but like, I don't know. It's giving me, as well, Jake just called it out. It's giving me like 2019 LCS vibes of like one team region. Where G2 might be able to do something, but the question is like, it was like the Team Liquid argument of like, okay, so we send Team Liquid internationally. Are they going to be able to catch up to everybody else in time? And they pulled off one upset series at MSI, but beyond that, the answer was no. So for G2, can they catch up? Sure. For Fnatic, I think if Fnatic makes it to the knockout stage, they don't win a single game from there.
I highly doubt it, yeah.
Either way.
That's why I don't get why you don't want to get Fnatic.
What do you mean?
I don't get it.
What do you mean why I don't want to get...
Why you don't want TL to get Fnatic? It's a free win.
I just don't... I don't think they're going to draw them. I think the draw is going to put us again... I thought there was one more stipulation I'm not remembering that would force us to play... Oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. We are... The stipulation is the draw for the bracket stage is that LCK and LPL are pool 1, LCS and LEC are pool 2, and it would require the pool 2s to play, or pool 1 will play against pool 4, which is the second seeds getting out of the bracket stage. Fnatic's not beating top. Therefore,
Yeah.
Fnatic will be a pool 4 and will automatically have to face against the against BLG or Genji. That's what the stipulation was that I could not remember earlier.
That makes more sense.
Which will then force FlyQuest, assuming they're second, to play against the other one of the two. So really, if you want to see Team Liquid versus, actually, that's the only way that it happens. If you want to see Team Liquid against Fnatic or G2 versus FlyQuest in the first round of upper bracket, one of them has to upset the East.
Dang. Dang.
That adds so much more stakes to it now, doesn't it?
Yeah, that does.
Now I'm kind of cheering for Fnatic. God damn it. Why did I just have to remember that rule?
Dude, we're gonna end up playing T1.
Oh, no, I don't think we beat T1. This ain't the squad to beat T1.
I know, and we're gonna have to play. You know it's coming.
We're gonna lose the T1. We're gonna make it through, and then we're gonna go against BLG 100%.
Jeez, TLT1 is just so tough, bro.
Well, it wouldn't be if it's FlyQuest T1.
No, I'm saying like in round the real stage.
Oh,
Knockouts.
well, that's why I said top. Give me top over T1.
Yeah.
Every
see now
time.
why you're saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it took 30 minutes, but we got there. We came around to my point.
We did.
So basically, like, oh man, dude, this is tough. TL, we're gonna be cheering on FlyQuest so heavily because if FlyQuest wins, if FlyQuest upsets T1, FlyQuest then gets upper bracket. FlyQuest has to be on the other side of the pool, or on the other side of the bracket, which means that we would automatically get top for Team Liquid, no matter what.
I gotta wrap up. We have 5 more minutes.
Wife's calling you.
Yep.
All right, we can wrap it up here. Any final thoughts on things? I'm not gonna end stream. I'm gonna just chill for a bit. I got a conversation with Mazel coming up for the pit, but
Nice. I probably just like good luck to FlyQuest. We'll be watching that, so that'll be good. Hopefully they can win. I'm kind of excited again to get international competition. It's always nice to know where everybody actually stands. It's like the best part of it all.
Yep.
Just knowing where you're at. Other than that, no, sadly, not many changes on the NRG front. Although it makes sense, you have to give them a full year after they win one.
Yeah.
But we're running it back. You're running it back, which makes complete sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're not gonna change shit.
So,
and we get best
really
of 3, so we get to develop really quick, and hopefully fearless draft.
Yeah, that Hotline League episode was something.
Yeah,
it was an experience.
Dude, some of those takes were wild, but
some of the takes were wild, and it was very business answers only.
Yeah, I mean, you had to figure it.
I know.
But
it's just hard to get excited or interested.
We'll find out more in June. That's all I'll say. Beyond that, thank you everybody for tuning into the podcast. I'm gonna chill for a bit and hang out. Paul's gonna dip out here, so we'll see y'all later.